Hello everyone and welcome to today's cryptocurrencies update for Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. Instead of going over the same old Elliott wave count that we have been tracking over the last several weeks rather successfully, with of course a few devils in the details, with a few twists and turns that simply cannot be forecasted. Let's have a look at what the trends are doing, because remember, the trend is your friend. And depending on what the trend is, you trade accordingly. If the trend is bullish, you can buy dips. If the trend is bearish, you should sell the rips. You do the reverse. So how do you know if a trend is bullish or bearish? And that's why I have developed the trend is your friend charts. So let's go to the charts. These are all the things that are going to come with the slides today. As usual, summary slide, we'll get back to it in a moment. Let's start with Avalanche. I haven't shared this chart with you for a while, but as you can see here, Avalanche is above the Ichimoku cloud, which is the green and red cloud-like feature based on calculations of price and all that stuff. That detail is not so important. What matters is where is price in relationship to this cloud. If it's below it, that's a bearish trend. If it's above it, it's a bullish trend. Can always go break out and then fall below it again, or fall below it and break above it again, according to Elliott waves, of course. But for now, we are above it. So we can only deal at any given moment with the price data available. If that price data changes, then we change accordingly. But for now, the trend is friendly according to the Ichimoku cloud. Nothing raging, because remember, if you look here at the upper left corner, price is below the 10-day moving average, the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 200-day. So 80% of the trend is essentially bearish. Compare that to early August, where we were above all these moving averages except the 200-day. The 200-day moving average is here in red. It is declining, so we're still in a long-term downtrend. This is why I've constantly reiterated that we are potentially just at the early stages of a new bull market. Just the early stages. And right now, we're going through a pullback that needs to hold at around $21. If we don't, we're going to fall back to about $16. That's the red arrow. We break above 26, we go to 31. We break above 31, we go to 36, etc. So please remember the support levels and resistance levels we need to break above. Now I pointed out the 200-day moving average. Why is the 200-day moving average important? This is the entire price chart I have for Avalanche since 2020. And here in red is that pesky 200-day moving average again. What happens if we break above the 200-day moving average? Besides here in May and June of a tiniest whipsaw, good things happen when we are above the 200-day moving average. So that's why we're patiently waiting for the 200-day moving average to catch up with price. That can take a while. But once we're above it, chances of good things happening increase tremendously. Here early 2020, we definitely got a lot of whipsaws around it. But you can see that in general, when above the cloud and above the 200-day, good things happen. Here we were above the 200-day, but below the cloud. So you got to know the reference, and that's why we use the traffic light. Right? If the traffic light is all green, it's much better than if there's one light on it. One light on it already means caution. So that's the trend for Binance Coin and the levels to watch. Very simple. They're on the chart. You can look at them. Binance Coin. Binance Coin also broke above the cloud in late July and has since stayed above the cloud. Its trend is about 80% bearish right now. We are below the 10, we're below the 20, and the 200-day moving average. Again, the 200-day moving average is closing in rapidly on price. We tagged it about 2 weeks ago and failed. Note that the symmetry breakout target above 270 to 275, I think it was actually 272, would target 320. We've reached that. That was the forecast based on symmetry. We've reached it, failed at the 200-day, and now we're holding once again 275 and the 50-day moving average. Break below it, we're going to go back to around 240. If we go back above 320, I think we're going to go into the 400s, because then we are pretty much in blue sky environment and back above the 200-day moving average. Also here, a longer term view of Binance Coin And you can see when we're below the cloud, I know this looks like a busy chart, but it's simply the same chart as the first one for 4 months, now zoomed out for about 2-3 years. So it's more compressed, so it looks a little cluttery, but just to show you that if we are above the 200-day moving average, here on the left-hand side of the chart, good things happen. Here also above the 200-day moving average, good things happen all the way into late 2021. When we then go below the 200-day moving average, below the cloud, bad things happen. So right now, this setup is starting to look reasonably well, as long as we, of course, hold these support levels. Moving on to Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin is a bit stuck between a rock and a hard place. It is actually 100% bearish. The trend is not friendly. It is below the cloud, below the 50-day, the 20-day, the 10-day, and again, the 200-day. Once again, the 200-day is starting to catch up with price. All right, please remember that. So while everybody is, of course, bearish, the charts start to show us that the moment is soon going to be here. And remember, charts are never wrong. It's our opinions about the charts that are wrong, and our opinions in general. And if we follow the emotions du jour, we will get severely burnt. If we follow the charts, once in a while, we only get hurt. That's the difference. Okay, so follow your emotions, and your trading account will go to zero. I bet you it will, because most of the time we do the opposite of what we should do. We follow the charts objectively. Once in a while we're wrong, but in general we'll be right. Again, this looks like a diagonal pattern with a series of higher lows and a series of higher highs. I like it, but we've broken below the cloud and we've broken below resistance. Resistance is around 21,800 to 22,800. That's red zone. We need to break above it so we can target around 25,000. We break above 25,000, we can target 30,000 and catch up with the 200-day simple moving average. Support here is at 20,800. We break below it, we're going to visit to 19,200. Again, that wouldn't surprise me if that's the case, because then we revisit the start of the diagonal. The start of the entire price pattern was here in June, of course, but the actual diagonal pattern didn't start until the wave 2 low here in July, I believe it was, early July. So you can see here we're between support and resistance. Break above it, upside targets. Break below it, downside targets. It's going to be on the summary slide, easy peasy. It is not too difficult. Don't overcomplicate it, keep the emotions in check. So what does that mean for the 200-day moving average? Again, here is the trend is your friend chart. We'll just show you quite simply what happens if price is above the 200-day moving average, starting with 2020. Massive gains. Above all the other moving average, above the cloud, massive gains. We're below it, not so good. All right, ever since we broke below 200-day moving average and the cloud, bad things happened. We had a little bit of a fake out here in March, April of this year with a break above the cloud, but still below the 200-day moving average. Now you can see here on the left-hand side of your screen, the chart, what happens if the 200-day keeps moving lower, and eventually price will catch up. This can take many, many months, right? Nobody gets rich overnight, unless you maybe win the lottery. But in this game, you don't. This is where big time frames lead to big gains. Short time frames lead to, most of the time, losses and short gains. Okay, so keep a bigger picture perspective. Zoom out of the scripts. And you can see here, once we get above the cloud and the 200-day moving averages, the chances of good things happening increase tremendously. So that's what we're now going to wait for. We're going to wait for price and the 200-day moving average to catch up with each other, and then eventually we'll get the bull run. Every single time it happens, and you have very little risk if we start breaking below the 200-day moving average again. That's why I say here, this is a trading idea. Buy on a close above the 200-day, sell on a close below the 200-day. You would have a couple of losses here, but most of the time you have massive gains, and the few losses that you have are tiny compared to massive gains. Super simple. All right, it is not too difficult. Don't overcomplicate. Ethereum. Also here we can see the red line, the 200-day moving average. I will show you the same path for Ethereum. What happens if we go above the 200-day moving average? That the chances of good things happening increase. It doesn't mean only good things will happen, the chance increase. So right now, we're about 60% bearish still, because we are only above the cloud to the 50-day. So we're holding 1580 as support. Intraday, we stepped a little bit below it, but otherwise you can see over the last 4 or 5 days, we held 1580. We go below 1580, we're going to go to about 1300 plus or minus 50. We go above 1680, or actually 1700, sorry, 1700, we can target 1800. We go above 1800, we can target 2000, etc. Okay, so I'm not even reviewing any of the Elliott wave charts, no nothing. Please remember, back in the day here, June, July, I said if we break above 1250, we can target 1700 based on simple symmetry. These are all simple symmetry levels. Markets move also on symmetrical basis because humans like symmetry. If you make a table for a dinner, you don't put all the glasses in one corner and the plates in another and just throw the utensils. No, everything is symmetrically organized because it's pleasing and it will make your food actually taste better. You start always off your dinner with eating with your eyes, all right? And then your nose and then your mouth. Anyway, we've reached all the upside targets and now we need to see if we can break above these resistance levels. Clearly 1800 is very strong resistance. So if we can clear that, then 2000 is a given. Now I want to compare the current price action. This is a log scale, by the way, to make sure that I can exemplify the lower price levels much better than the higher price levels. That the current price action here this year resembles a lot that of 2018 and into early 2019. You see here we had the top, you have the initial decline, we got the bounce, and then you get your final wave lower. And then here you can see price is starting to muscle its way through the cloud and the moving averages with lots of ups and downs, because those are the ones and the twos. 1, 2, 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, and then we got a very large A, B, C. All right, and you can see how long this takes. This is more than a year of patience before the real bull run starts. Yeah, not saying the same is going to happen now, might go much faster, but what you see is that we are catching up with the 200-day moving average as we were doing here. Past performance, no guarantee of future results, but we have to look at the past to understand what the future most likely is going to do. And once again, back above the 200-day moving average, good times ahead. Below the 200-day moving average and the cloud, because we have to take things into perspective, meaning we cannot only look at the 200-day, we also have to add the cloud. Then we get a much better idea of what's going on. So if we get above the cloud and the 200-day, good things happen. So far we're above the cloud, but not yet the 200-day moving average. Once we do, as you can see here, most of the time massive bull runs are about to happen. Even here 2017, above the cloud and the 200-day, good times ahead. Below the cloud, below the 200-day, bad times ahead. And of course, we have a few occasions where it's a little bit in between, but that's fine. We're looking at what the chances are of good things happening, and the chances increase tremendously with that type of setup. Look at Matic. Matic I really like, or Polygon, whatever you want to call it. We got the symmetry breakout target reached of the triangle. So this was a ascending triangle. So we were making higher highs, but we keep bumping here in about the 62.5 cents level. But once we broke above it, we reached the symmetry that is the entire width of this triangle from about 35 cents or 32.5 or even 30 cents, whatever it is. That's the black arrow. Achieved. Now then, we stalled here at the $1 level. That was the next upside target. Okay, this reach level here. If we would go above the $1 level, we would reach even higher according to the green arrow to 130. We didn't. We only broke above it for 1 day, so that was a false breakout. But we're above the 50-day, above the cloud, below the 10 and the 20, and below the 200-day. Also, this one is technically still 60% bearish. If we go below 75 cents, we can target 62.5 cents. Go below that, we target, of course, even lower, but 62.5 should now be sturdy support, as well as this blue trend line. Trend lines are not as important as horizontal price levels, as well as moving averages, because trend lines are a little bit more arbitrary. We break above, I would say 90 cents, we can target $1. Above $1, we target 130. Solana, like Bitcoin, is also reasonably bearish in the fact that it is below all its moving averages and below its cloud. So we gotta give this time. If we break below the recent lows here, that is about 33.5 or 33.85, we can target somewhere in the low 30s. We break above $40, we can target 47.5 based on this simple symmetry. Okay, go back above 47.5, we target into the 60s. But for now, that is not in the cards because the chart is 100% bearish. This is Ethereum. Grayscale Trust still looks good here for this ADSB and this C wave. I see no reason to change my tune on that one. Everything looks nice. So, quick summary. The trend is your friend charts show the 200-day simple moving averages are closing in on price. Reviewing the charts, history then tells us that chances of good things happening increase when the cryptocurrencies are above their 200-day simple moving average, and I might add as well as their cloud. Okay, so first things first, get above your cloud, get then above the 200-day moving average. Odds of good things happening increase tremendously. Not there yet, patiently waiting. Avalanche, over 26, targets 31. Below 21, targets 15. 80% bearish trend right now. Please keep it in mind, trade accordingly. Trade accordingly. Cannot say it often enough. Below 275 can target 245. Above 320 targets 400. We're stuck here in these levels. It's a 60% bearish trend. Maybe you want to focus on the ones that are most bullish versus the ones that are most bearish. All right. Don't focus just on one. Make sure you trade the one that goes up, whereas other ones might go down. There is not necessarily a general trend for everything at the same time. And trade accordingly means that if we're in a bearish trend and you want to long anything, make sure you trade position size small, you set tight stops, all those things, and take profits quickly. We're not in a bull trend yet. Bitcoin below 2800 targets 19200. Above 22,800 targets 24,800. A 100% bearish trend right now. Please keep it in mind. Below 1580 on Ethereum targets 1280, 1320, etc. You can read this for yourself. It will be sent out with you. So use those to your advantage. And if you still have any questions, please contact me. Remember, the charts are never wrong. Only people's opinions about them are. Sometimes even my opinions are, of course, wrong because I'm no God. I don't know everything. I try to do my very best. But do not stick to any emotional hype du jour, what you read about cryptocurrencies, all the fundamentals and all that stuff. But stick to the charts. If you stick to the charts, there will be pain every now and then. If you stick to the emotions, you'll get burned eventually quite badly. So pick your poison. Take care, trade safe, see you all tomorrow.